Hello, people.
Hello, everybody. We'll get
Hello.
around about stuff for a while. I
Robes
was
is not the only dark one here tonight. I'm here too.
yes, I'm in the dark all by myself. It's funny. This year, and it's the first year I've been this maudlin about it and I don't even know why I was, but this year Valentine's Day was bugging me.
Really?
Yeah, and maybe I mean part of it could be there were a couple things I've watched on TV that had older couples being older coupley together, and there was there was finding the receipt from February 2020, and so just all these little things, and I was like, "Yep, I'm not going to be anybody's Valentine's." Da da da, yada yada, blah blah blah. And I was talking to Julie on the phone, and I hear this knock on the door, and it's been raining all day, and I didn't notice a car pull in. I hope the girl didn't walk it here. I assumed she didn't. And the family down the road, their kids love my storytelling.
Oh.
And so she brought me a Valentine.
Oh.
That's so sweet.
How sweet.
It's of course a handmade card, but she had to have gone somewhere to get the rose. And then she and all the kids signed it.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So I was remembered on Valentine's Day, and
That's good.
that was not expected. That was just so.
Yeah, that is very nice.
Hey Joe, how are
Neighbors
you
like that.
doing?
I guess it's kind of lucky I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness because I don't get all fluttery about the holidays. I never had them. Like I didn't grow up with it, so it doesn't. I don't care. Like,
Good.
like,
You know, back
doesn't
when I
matter
was
to me.
young,
It's just another one of those pagan practices.
back when I was young and hot-headed, you know, Valentine's Day was all that and more, but not anymore. It's like, another day.
Oh, I guess I did get spoiled because, like I said, Keith always adored me. I mean, every day he acted like it was a miracle that I was with him, and I was like, "Gee, I'm not that exciting, my God." You know? Aren't you tired of me yet? It's been 15 years. You know?
Well, every time my husband makes a crack about how crazy I am, I just look at him and smile and I say, yeah, but you know what? 53 years later, every night you keep choosing to come home to me. What is wrong with you? And he always just looks at me like, huh. It's
Yeah.
like, well, if I'm crazy, you keep coming home and choosing me every night. What's that make you?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy?
Yeah, I guess.
Right? No, weird.
I think I told people to do traumatic stories tonight. You can tell I wasn't paying attention to the date, huh?
Oh, maybe this was a good thing.
Oh, that's neat, Joe. I would have loved some chocolate, but I told myself I would not dare ask anyone who would take me seriously for that.
Oh, that's gross.
I maybe I'll give myself an extra scoop of cacao nibs tonight.
Right.
There you go.
Cacao.
You deserve a tablespoon and a half, dang it.
Oh,
Right.
wow, that's like 3 times as much as normal.
There you go.
They're actually pretty high in fiber and everything. It's like a gram of carbs per serving or something. It's not like, you know, when you get milk chocolate. This is crunchy bits that are kind of nutty. So, but I've gotten to the point I really enjoy them.
That's
So
the best of both worlds.
yeah, you know, if you're gonna not eat real chocolate, apparently there.
Well, you got the chocolatey part, and then you got the crispy part, like potato chips. So it's like the best of everything.
It reminds
Crunchy and
me.
chocolatey.
It reminds me of dark chocolate covered espresso.
Oh,
That's what it kind of reminds me of.
oh,
You know, you ever have those?
yeah. I remember
I'd like to eat a cup of those a day at one point.
oh, I remember dark chocolate espresso. I had to stop.
Right?
I'd like buy $4 of them and eat them every day. And the thing is I don't drink coffee.
I don't really drink much coffee either.
Oh
Like,
my
maybe a
god.
couple cups in the morning sometimes, but
Well, I have my 1 cup, and then I spend the rest of the day wanting a second cup.
right?
Once in
I
a
had
while, I get one.
I had meant to make myself a cup of chai with some cream in it. Oh, it wasn't vegan chocolate? My daughter-in-law only gets vegan, uh, chocolate because of she has a health condition. She says it was a side effect of surgery. I swear to God. Everything I've read says it only comes from tick bites. I think she got bit by a tick close to the same time and just didn't know it. It
Oh, I
it
love the
happens to
happy
people more than they want to believe,
I
you
love the
know?
happy BD thing.
Yes. Oh, we loved using that for Valentine's Day when I was in college, being snarky and everything.
Well, I'm a generation older than you guys, so it's new to me.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you hadn't figured out that as an option.
I knew it
Right,
was
I
right.
Valentine's Day, but it just, VD, that just cracked me up.
I used to do the oh, wait, I forgot what I was going to say. Isn't that terrible?
I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, no, it's okay. Uh, and Joe's caregiver is going to be having to give an opinion soon, I think.
Oh,
Um,
yay. Beat
yeah,
champagne.
they keep telling her how much whether or not I've had pot.
Oh, they can
I
tell?
so yeah, apparently they're really good at it.
Wow, I gotta practice up more because I can't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, granted, I insisted I was also, yes, they're going to do it, or yes, they say I am. Anyhow,
Maybe it's just they're good at it.
oh, I hadn't thought of that one. Darn it. I am just not really good at tonight, I guess.
Are
So,
you gummied?
yeah.
All right, see?
See, I will tell you a secret. Most of Camera Obscura has been somehow under the influence.
Oh. Oh my god, and I absolutely freaking adore that story. I love it. Love it, love it.
I need more pot then.
Right.
I have a nephew, I think, that grows. I don't know if he still
Oh.
does. I think he did at one point. I don't know if he still does or not.
Oh, God.
I
Yeah,
can't smoke it, and I can't stand the taste of it, so
well, a friend of mine up in Michigan has been sending me some very supposedly up there inexpensive compared to here gummies,
really?
and I can't taste pot in the ones she sends me. And
Oh, that would be good. I could handle that.
one of my big complaints about all of the edibles I've been getting here is I can often taste really strong pot in them, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I
Mm,
And
can't
yeah.
stand the taste
Yeah.
of it.
I had one of her gummies, and I'm like, I could eat this whole bag. These are so tasty. And I'm like,
That Detroit chocolate I told you about, that's the marijuana chocolate, I
"Mhm."
love that stuff, but it's because I can't taste anything other than chocolate. I can't taste the marijuana.
I got one of
Mm.
those. They had them. They had a 50-gram one, and I was gonna eat little pieces of it, and had the same thing where some pieces apparently were a little more potent than others. It's kind of like the whole Alice and eating the different parts of the mushroom thing in a way.
Right.
Gotta eat this side. Does that make me get higher or lower? This side.
Man, I remember one time taking chocolate mescaline.
Wow.
Maybe it was purple mescaline. Just a little tiny little itty it was smaller than a birth control pill.
Oh, wow. That is tiny.
Yeah. And my girlfriend and I took it, and we were going out. I was driving, and I remember stopping for gas, and this was back in the day when they used to come out and put your gas in for you. You just
Yeah.
pulled up and parked.
Right.
Right?
And
Remember
I was like,
that?
"Oh my god, did I put deodorant on?" And she's like, "I don't know." So I put my head down and sniffed my armpit,
Mhm.
and I said, "Whoa, I don't know." When I lifted my head up, here's the guy standing outside my window looking at me like I was green.
Oh, wow.
And I started laughing, said, "Fill it up, please." And I looked over at her, and we're trying really hard not to crack up laughing. And when we pulled out of there, we're going down the road, and I looked at the road, and I said, I mean, thank God it was a divided highway, so we had 2 lanes on our side, a big green thing, and then 2 lanes on the other.
Mhm.
But I said, "What lane are we driving in?" And she's like, "I don't know." And I said, "Seriously, you can't tell what lane we're driving in?" And she says, "No, I think we're in the right one." And I said, "Oh my god, I think we're in the left one." She said,
Oh,
"We
my.
might be in trouble here." And I was like, "Oh my god, what do we do?" And I mean, we were messed up. I don't remember what all we did, but yeah, I never took that again.
Right?
Oh, man. I was really sick once. I used to get really nasty versions of bronchitis 4 times a year, and
Oh,
I was driving home, and I'd taken the codeine cough syrup, but I've never had codeine before or after cause this with me, but I started hallucinating on the drive home, and
Ooh.
it was raining yellow scrubby sponges on my car.
oh, wow.
Well, at least you knew what lane
Okay.
you were
Well,
in.
It was winter and raining yellow scrubby sponges as I was driving home. At least I knew what lane I was in.
right?
Yes, much better than I did.
That's kind of crazy, though.
It was a little strange.
Yes.
Yeah, I have
I'm like,
not had great experiences with being high, which is probably why I don't do it anymore.
right?
no, most of my hallucinatory experiences have been medical. So
I did have one of those
me too.
when I had my hysterectomy, and I told that nurse, you would have thought she'd have known something was up, you
Mhm.
know, because she came in to check me. She said, "How you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm so tired." And she said, "You're tired?" And I said, "Yeah, I can't sleep." She's like, "Why not?" I said, "'Cause you got all those babies down the hall crying." I said, "Shouldn't the nursery be on a different floor?" And she said, "You would think so." And I said, "Yeah, I don't know why you guys would put it here or put me here on the nursery. I need to be someplace where I can't hear babies."
Mhm.
She said, "Well, I'll talk to your doctor and see if we can move you." I said, "Oh my god, thank you." And so her
Right?
next trip in, I said, "Look, I appreciate you got rid of the babies." I said, "But why is that old man in that room next to mine down there? Why are you letting him keep a chicken in there? That's not sanitary, and I've got open guts and stuff. I think you should move him
Right?
out." Now, I
Like,
hadn't
what
been
is
out of
going
bed.
on
I'm
here?
hooked up to an IV, but I thought I'd walk down the hall, and this old man had a chicken on his lap. And I'm complaining about how the chicken cannot be sanitary. They sent me home with those drugs.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, I got so mad at my kids because there was a pterodactyl flying around in our dining room, and it was pooping all over my antique dining room set,
Ah, I
and
hate
they
when they do
wouldn't
that.
clean it off.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Terrible. I could just watch
What
the
is
finish
going
getting eaten
on?
off by the pterodactyl shit, you know? It was not good.
Oh
When my kidneys
my
failed,
god.
they forgot me in the ER, and the longer they didn't work, the more my normal medication built up in my blood. And at one point, when I really started hallucinating, well, the entire floor did a song and dance number.
Oh, cool. Was it well
And
done?
and I started babbling and saying some weird things that were very embarrassing.
Those are the
And then
best
when
kind.
when they got me to the other hospital, I was convinced they took me in through the basement and that they had animals in stalls that we went past before we got to the medical part.
Hmm.
I mean, I whoa. I ended up that was a Sunday night, and I quit hallucinating very early Wednesday morning, late Tuesday night.
Wow. That's crazy.
Oh.
So,
Now it's
yeah.
interesting that we both had hospital and animal
I know.
Right?
experiences, isn't it?
At one point, I was convinced they threw an ice cream and cake party for you when you got to go home during my hallucinations.
Did you feel cheated when it wasn't there?
Yeah, I was a little upset when I realized that was all not real. I was like, "Darn." Of
Right?
course, they
Right? Like, come on.
when your kidneys fail, they lose your appetite, and so they, like, were begging me to eat for days, so they should have offered me cake. They finally
Right?
there was this, Jordanian nurse because I had full-time nurse coverage because I was actually in ICU, but it wasn't the ICU because of COVID. I was locked in a private room by myself with a nurse,
Oh, okay.
and they were trying to get me to eat anything, and I'm like, "Well, I'm diabetic," because they, like, were trying to offer me not pudding. "Would you eat some pudding?" "Ah, no, I don't like pudding. I'm diabetic. I can't pudding." They're like, "You haven't eaten in 3 days. We don't care if you eat pudding. You can eat all the pudding you want."
Right?
Oh,
Okay.
and
Well,
then
if
they're
you're
like,
gonna
"We"
have a
Pudding. I
diabetic
like pudding.
attack, the
And
hospital's
then
the
I'm
place
gonna
to
make some
do it,
pudding.
you know?
This is true too. And they have they're like he's like, "We have rice pudding." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, that sounds pretty." And so he brought me rice pudding, but his name was Yusuf.
It was what?
Yusuf,
Okay.
which is a Middle Eastern way for
Joseph.
Joseph,
Yeah.
and, I don't remember why I'd even asked him what his first name was, but and he said, well, he said, "In a lot of other countries, it'd be Joseph." And I'm like, "Oh, so is it like Yusuf?" And he's like, "You" I'm like, "Yeah, I can guess," you know?
Right?
But,
Yusuf, Giuseppe, I mean,
yeah, well,
Right?
because he had said he was Jordanian, and then he
okay.
wouldn't give me his name, and I'm like, "Well, okay, you're probably Arabic then, so Yusuf, right?" And then,
Right?
that's all it was. It wasn't no kind of brain reading or anything, but
Right?
yeah, it's kinda funny.
I gotta tell you, I love hospital drugs.
Really?
Yeah. When I had my
Hmm.
colonoscopy,
Mhm.
my youngest son, poor thing, he was the only one who was around to drive. Think I traumatized him.
Right.
But he said the nurse came out and got him and said, "Your mom's in the recovery room. You can go in there with her for a bit. Make
Mhm.
sure she wakes up."
Right.
And he said he walked in there. He said, "And I'm talking to the woman in the bed next to me. There's a curtain between us, so I'm just talking
Mm,
to the curtain,
right.
and she's talking to me, and we're talking and we're making plans.
Mm.
We're gonna go get chicken potatoes."
Oh.
And my son's looking around, and there was a man, older man there, and he looked at him. He said, "Are you with somebody?" And he said, "Yeah. How about you?" And he pointed to the sheeted area where I was, and he said,
Mhm.
"Her, it's my mom." He said, "Oh," he
Hmm.
said, "Yeah, that's my wife next to her. That they're talking
Mhm.
together." And my son said, "Are they making plans?" And the guy said, "Dinner plans." And Nick was like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Yeah." He said, "I don't know who's driving, but they're going someplace to get chicken potatoes." And Nick said, "What are chicken potatoes?" He says, "Damned if I know." So then I
I
begged him to stop and get me a hamburger. I was so hungry,
right?
you know. And so he stopped and he got me a Whopper. I wanted a
Mhm.
Whopper. I wanted a big hamburger.
I like
Mhm.
Whoppers, actually.
I do too, but usually I can't eat one, the whole one. So, I wanted a Whopper because I was starving.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, after all
so,
the prep and everything, yeah.
yeah,
Right, right.
so we get home and he pulls in the driveway and parks. And I looked up and I started crying. And he says, Mom, what are you crying for? And I said, Because I told you I was hungry. He said, Look in your hand.
Oh.
And I looked down and here was a
Um.
whole great big Whopper with one bite out of it.
Forgot all about it.
I fell
I was worried. I had dinner and we got home and I asked when we were gonna eat.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, we
That
got in
stuff
the
makes
house
you
and
loopy for a bit.
oh, God, I just remembered the worst part of the story.
Hmm.
Well, I kept forgetting to eat the Whopper, so he stuck it in the fridge. But he made sure I had, gotten ready for bed and stuff. He said, "No, you go to bed and stay there." He said, "Because they said you can't drive or anything." So he said, "I got to get up in the morning for work, so I got to go to bed.
Right.
Do I need to hide my keys?" And I said, "No, I'm not going anywhere." I said, "Look at me. I'm not even dressed. I had on underpants and a pajama top." I said, "I'm not going anywhere." So he said, "All right." So he went to bed, and in the morning he gets up and comes in. He said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm fine." And he said, "All right." He said, "Give me a kiss goodnight or goodbye." And he said, "I'll see you tomorrow or later tonight." And I said, "Yeah." He comes back in the bedroom, madder than a wet hen. "Where the hell did you go with my car?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "When I left here," he said, "I had three-quarters of a tank of gas." He said, "And now," he said, "it's empty, almost empty." He said, "And the back seat is full of food containers." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Oh my God." He said, and it was all stuff from like the grocery store that was open all night.
Oh
So
my.
there was like, Twinkie boxes of Twinkies that were empty,
I
all the little paper things around them,
gotta look for
the
Twinkies.
cupcakes, potato
I haven't had a
chips,
Twinkie in forever.
right? All
Twinkies
this
are
junk
good.
food. The back
Twinkies
seat
are
was
yum.
full of papers. He said, "Funyuns." And I'm like, "I don't even like Funyuns." He said, "Well, you liked them fine in the night." And I said, "Well, something else happened. It wasn't me." He
Right?
said, "It had to be Mom." He said, "My keys were right back where I left them. It had to be you." He said, "I need money for gas. I can't get to work and I'm going to be late now." So I went to get money out of my purse. My money was gone. $50. Gone. So I had $50 worth of wrappers in my back seat or his back
Wow.
seat.
Well,
And
you
then I
know.
realized I am still in my underpants and pajama top. Did I go
Um,
to the store that way or did I get dressed?
You
We're
might
never
never
going to
know.
know.
There was this
So if you
crazy
ever see a video of a woman in a red flannel, long sleeve pajama top, and underpants walking through the grocery store, it's in the middle of the night. It's probably me
okay.
back
if
in the
you were
day.
in Missouri, I would have wondered if you would have been in my Walmart once.
Right?
Oh my God.
There was this woman, and I worked overnight cashier, and she would come in
Give me one
barefoot,
moment. I'll be right back.
and it'd be like all kinds of different barefoot. I mean, and one day she pretty much came in topless in a pair of shorts and barefoot.
Oh,
And
she might have had a colonoscopy.
the first thing she would do as soon as she walked in the store every time was grab a bag of something and open it and start eating
Oh, wow.
because she figured she'd have to check out if
Okay.
she ate something. And then she could like drag them around and get whatever else she wanted as they dragged her towards the checkout.
Oh my gosh.
And she had this whole thing she did, and they kept trying to ban her from the store. But if she got into the door, then it became a carnival of sorts. And
Well, I hope to God I kept my top on at least.
it was the craziest thing.
I don't think I had a robe at that point, Joe. I think I got a robe after that because we don't know what I wore to the store.
Oh, that's terrible.
It
That's
is.
terrible.
It is. We don't know what I had on. We just pray I didn't take the robe off or the pajama top off.
You didn't get arrested, at least, so
No, well, I mean, that that was a long time ago. That was back in the 1970s, no, 80s,
oh.
1980s. Um, People would have been so shocked they wouldn't even have thought to call the police. They'd have just been standing there staring, wondering what on earth is she doing? What's her problem? And I was
Is
clearly
she
paying for stuff,
dangerous?
so
Is she dangerous or not?
well, and God only knows what the look on my face might have been because I was out of it. I wasn't aware of anything.
They're like,
I don't
"What
even know if
kind
my
of
eyes were
drugs did
open.
she do today?"
Right? Yeah, they were probably scared of me. I would have been. See somebody walking around like that in the middle of the night in the store, I would have been scared of them.
Well, I at least wondered what kind of drugs or alcohol they'd had.
I'll have to ask the doctor what they gave me back then.
So, Joe sent over, something to read. So, I'm gonna
Okay.
start with it, and this is by Joanna Silva. It's No Shiver. The liquid in the eyes changed. It changed in the fear way and through oily water. It hung in corners but didn't fall away. Our faces remained stationary. We'd learned to have no affect in order to survive. Her face saw mine. She looked at me, so I then saw myself. She was afraid. Thus, I knew this must be very scary, very scary. Let me make it clear that I was not looking into a mirror this time. This was my friend Tammy, who, as was I, mindfully staying still, unable to move, and even barely breathing, for fear of what would happen next. I understood as much as did she that things were very bad, and if we moved at all, it would rustle the bougainvillea petals, now dried from red to dark tan. This light as air cloud of petals, shed like cast off leaves of piles a foot high in diameter, longer than we were tall, is where we dug under to hide ourselves from the man who said we were witches and must be controlled and locked away to protect the world from our wonderful creative power. Creativity that ultimately caused confusion. He said this with different water in his eyes. Wonderful power, he said. Too much power and beauty, and men lost themselves, losing their minds, controlled by what was too much power. It was logical we be restrained and hidden. He said he called the FBI to report he had constrained two females who were obviously victims of a cult because they were not inherently bad but had been somehow drugged and convinced to use their abilities against men. He explained we were good women but had been somehow polluted by a nefarious ring. He cried with sincerity as he testified over the landline. It was tragic and we needed help, we the exceptional women who saw too much and pained those around with insight. We were but 2 feet away and dared not move for fear of beating and rape. We'd screamed out before and no help came. Rule. Only scream or ask for help if you can count on it, or it will only get much worse. We stayed silent and obedient. Still, at the end of the call, I thought for sure the FBI might come to check things out, but they did not. We had snuck a call to the LAPD and the neighbors before. The police showed up, spoke with him, and soothed him as he said how hard it is to take care of such disabled women. They admired his empathy and good works. The next year was terrible, but eased towards the end. He became careless because he was soothed by skillful, demure behavior. He looked away and we dove under the dead bougainvillea flower petals, under that giant tree of a bush. And we barely breathed, especially did not shudder. it wasn't that hard. We'd learned the skill over some years. But in the liquid in Tammy's eyes changed then, and so seeing that, I supposed I should be afraid.
Wow. I feel a little sick to my stomach.
Very, very cold right now. Never had a
Huh.
chill that did that before. It just
Holy
started from the
crow,
back
Joe.
and moved to the front, but the entire body.
Wow.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
back.
that was
Sorry about
not.
somebody at the door.
Oh, you missed Joe's story.
Odd.
You
Somebody
did.
at the door at this time of night is very strange.
Yes, it
It is.
is.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, they were just seeing.
Last time I had someone at the door that late, it was when my horse and donkey were dancing on a neighbor's roof.
Huh, just a late visit.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I well, I mean, I don't count my son as a guest. I don't count anyone who knows how to get into my house as a guest. Yeah. So if they walk in and out and think they live here, they aren't guests anymore at that point.
Well, I just gotta tell you, our invisible guest,
Uh-huh.
I have a clear rectangle bin that's left over from meat or something I bought at the deli.
Right.
And I use that to put my coffee filter grounds,
Okay.
little scraps of stuff. And then when it gets close to full, I pick it up and take it to the trash and dump the whole mess. Rinse it
Right.
out, put it back right next to the sink where it's easy. Well, I used
Hmm.
it last night making homemade pizza,
Mhm.
putting the little ends of the peppers and stuff in there, and the coffee grounds from the morning were in there still. And I thought, okay, I got to dump that. So I did, and I rinsed it out and I set it back up there. And this morning I went to dump my grounds in it, and it's not there. I'm
But you
looking
still
around.
have sauerkraut?
I checked, the sauerkraut's still there,
Okay.
but the little container for the scraps is gone. So I looked at my husband and I said, "Did you throw that away?" He said, "No, I wouldn't do that." And he's got the trash bag by his knees. And I said, "Let me see in there before you throw that away." He said, "I told you I didn't throw it away." I said, "Look, there's two of us here. I didn't throw it away. I washed it. So it means you had to throw it away. There's the trash. Let me look through it." I dug through the trash. It's not in there.
Hmm.
He said, "I
Huh.
told you it wasn't in there. I didn't throw it away." I mean, we looked through the refrigerator, the oven, the cupboards, the dishwasher.
Hmm.
It's not in the kitchen anywhere.
Huh.
So it went the way of the freaking sauerkraut. It's like, oh my God, there's something going on. And I don't think I can call them guests. I think I'm going to get my locks changed,
Yeah.
actually.
That's a good idea.
Well, but I mean, the container I throw my scraps in for the trash can.
I know, it's the weirdest stuff.
And sauerkraut. I mean, there were carrots and potatoes and meat. Why would you take the sauerkraut?
I don't know, I should have bought more, I'll tell you that. I got a big jar of pickles, though. I'll have to have a couple pickles.
Uh-huh. So I just had to share the continuing saga of the disappearing things from my house. Oh, hey, Sal. I
Uh,
have
th-
I have stuff that comes up missing, and this time it was a scrap container that I keep by the sink because it's easier than running back and forth to the trash can all the time.
Hmm.
it's in his daughter's room.
Hey, if it's in your daughter's room, I could really use it back. I would appreciate it. Thank you. I said,
Hi, Sam.
Robes, did you get anything written?
I did not. I couldn't think of anything that wasn't like really freaking horrible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
oh,
I kind of struggled with that a little bit too. Um, yeah,
anybody else
so
have stuff to read? 'Cause you
Yeah.
know you're all gonna be stuck with me if you don't.
I have 2. I finished Camera Obscura.
I
Oh,
think we
cool.
need to save that for the last thing,
Okay,
'cause people might need to recover from mine.
okay. And then we
That
have
one.
my traumatic story, which is very short.
You wanna go before me or after me?
I well, I can make a you sandwich.
Oh, you can, 'cause I do have 2. I have a story and I have a poem.
Oh,
And
so we
I
can
wanna
go.
know which one of y'all has been sending me the poem vibes, because y'all know I'm not a poet.
I
Mhm.
don't know what you're talking about.
I
Somebody's
couldn't
sending me
tell you.
poetry. 'Cause I sat
I was
down to write a story and a poem came out and I was like, "What the hell? I don't do poems." But one came out anyway.
Thou assures us we are all poets. I say we
Mm,
are all humans being.
right, right.
Yeah, but one of you's sending me poems.
Then I was asked if I said that on purpose, and I'm like, why would I have said that on accident? I had a point when I said that. Thank you very much.
Right? Well, let me start with my poem because
Okay, so it would be you, me,
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. Well, the poem I have called "The Vulture's Feast."
Ooh.
Yeah. I've walked through the winters of 70 years, salt tracing the map of my labor and tears. But the sky is now bruised with a color so foul as the villains in silk begin their dark prowl. They sit in their halls made of marble and gold, while the heart of the nation grows bitter and cold. With jagged tongues weaving a tapestry thin, they trade away hope for a trophy of sin. The ink on their laws is a fresh weeping wound, while the cries of the small are the only true sound. I hold to the memory of my mother's stained lace, a shield for the innocent, now stripped of its grace. And oh, for the children, the small and the sweet, whose futures are trampled by arrogant feet. With eyes like the deer when the hunter is near, they're sold to the shadows and christened in fear. May reckoning rise for the thief of the soul, for the hand that defiles, the hunger for control. No marble will shield them, no title excuse the rot at the root of their glittering noose. I see all the women, the sisters of grief, whose labor is long and whose rest is too brief. Their backs bent like saplings in a freezing, hard wind, for the crimes of the powerful, never yet pinned. We are the weavers, the menders of bone, with a sorrow as heavy as granite and stone. They think us forgotten because we are old, but the deep quiet of snow hides our fury untold. My arms ache for women with backs bent and sore, who carry the world as they've done since the war. The sisters of grief with their palms cracked and dry, watching the light leave a gray, leaden sky. Let the powerful posture, let the boastful lie. We remember, we watch, and we do not comply.
Wow.
Thank you. That's what y'all sent me.
Wow. Okay.
Be careful the vibes you give.
No, I did. I found out today while watching true crime stuff because I'm, a little twisted at times. Um, that the person who's kind of the center of the storytelling is apparently a professor at Southern Florida University, former profiler, doctor, Indian chief kind of person, and she in this one serial killer, his wife had found out, and they she said that the a spouse, spousal privilege exists. And she said, yes, a law that was originally created, a privilege was originally created so a woman could not testify against her husband when he raped her.
Mm.
Oh,
And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah,
right?
no.
That is why it existed. And I figure as a professor and former FBI person, she probably wasn't just, and I'm like,
Right.
and the thing is that the more I learn about the way we run everything, the more I realize that it's probably very true. That's probably how it started. And I'm still kind of like horrified to realize that, you know, that's why you aren't allowed to testify against your husband. So you couldn't ever say your husband did anything wrong, especially if it was you that
Wow.
was a victim. Wow.
Who knew?
Yeah. It's like,
I mean,
geez.
I thought it was somehow to protect us.
Yeah.
Stupid me.
I know. It's like, holy
Man.
shit. That is not. No, 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 no. Yeah. Okay. So my short, small traumatic story is a true reminiscence thing, but it's very short for you. So there's that. The hardest thing about parenting sometimes is in-laws. Yeah, I said it. Very different philosophies of child rearing can cause some serious conflicts, and often a young parent feels awkward trying too hard to fight after a while. Or at least that's what happened to me. My mother in law confronted me for not allowing my husband's niece, age 6, watch her new cousin, a year old, without an adult with her. I was invited, like so many weekends, to visit their house. When we arrived, my mother in law cornered me for conversation. And the little girl came, triumphantly picked up my toddler, and carried him inside. The mother in law gave me a good glare and kept talking. Conversation didn't last more than 10 minutes, though. That is when my son's big brother, only 8, came running outside, pale as a sheet, and said, "Mom, Jay fell into the fireplace and there's blood everywhere." The in laws lived in the canyon, an hour from the closest hospital. We grabbed a towel, and I held direct pressure on my screaming infant's head as we headed to the ER. When we checked in, he was examined, and they explained they were going to swaddle him to a board. They called it papoosing him, and then stitch his forehead back together.
Ugh.
The damage was so deep, it was going to take internal and external stitches.
Mm.
"So," said the kindly doctor, "we will just take him and go ahead and get this finished. I want to go with him. Parents don't do well with this. You're better off waiting out here. Look, in a few minutes, you will begin stitching his head back together, and he will scream. If you lock the door to the treatment room, I will rip it off of its hinges to get to him." The doctor looked at me carefully. I could see he wasn't sure whether to take me seriously. I maintained eye contact. "You can stand over by his head. Stay out of the way." 7 external stitches, 5 internal stitches. My beloved baby would have a scar in the middle of his head forever, pointing out that I let him get hurt because I was too much a coward to stand up to a domineering adult to protect him. His grandmother's words echo to this day and keep me constantly perplexed, because until that moment, I had never experienced such a thing. She said all babies get stitches.
No. No.
That was as a mother, he's my only born child.
Hmm.
And, blood head wounds bleed.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
And it
Really
was an
bad.
hour drive, and we've got a soaking bloody towel, and
Uh,
so that was I figured that was a traumatic one that wouldn't put people in flashbacks like some others might.
You could have wrote about that. See? I didn't even
hey,
think of that. Huh.
that's like my worst nightmare. I mean, just as a mom, that's
Mhm.
like my worst nightmare, something happening to my child
Oh, yeah.
because I didn't do a good enough job protecting him,
Mhm.
and no matter mine have been hurt right in front of me. I was close enough to grab him,
Mhm.
and I
Well, now I'll
still
have to
felt
write
like,
one
my
too.
God, I
I got
failed.
one.
I failed,
Right? Right?
Um, but yeah, I do believe you would have ripped the door apart.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I have no doubt on that whatsoever.
You don't challenge me. I am in mama bear mode, and I will hurt you. Isn't
Right?
Right?
it? I think he was
Yes,
he was
wouldn't even
hoping I was
think
gonna
about it.
pass out. I think he was hoping I would pass out so then he could be smug about it, but I'm like,
Right?
I'm not worried about needles, but that is not but if I hear my baby screaming and I cannot see what's happening to him and I can
Mm.
be there so he knows he's not alone in it, I can't. Nope, nope.
Yeah.
Mm.
What doctor in their right mind would want a baby to be alone through trauma?
I
Yeah.
know. It's like, at least let him know I haven't abandoned him to this, please.
Right?
Right? Right?
Here, take the baby.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
he's that child has been in an ER more than about any other human being in the family.
Mm.
Wow.
Um, he let's see, after that, there was the time my husband hired a babysitter, and her boyfriend decided to bleed his brakes in our driveway while waiting for her, and he bled them into a big gulp cup.
Mm.
And I got home from work just as they were having a hysterical fit because he just dropped the big gulp cup, and they were pretty sure he drank brake fluid.
Oh,
That was a
Wow.
fun night.
yeah. Wow.
Crazy.
So,
Crazy.
and then there was the baseball bat thing and the falling down the stairs and having to have his head glued back together time. And
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
then there's the wrecking the four-wheeler and the rolling
Oh,
my
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 goodness.
truck. And
Ooh,
he must have been born under a cursed star.
right?
Right? Like, what the
Oh my
heck?
gosh. That's got my little pitiful children's stories beat all to heck and gone.
Right?
That was all before he was 18.
Uh, yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. I had 4 and don't have that many stories.
Right? Like, what the heck?
Right. Oh my gosh.
I got 9 and I don't have that many stories.
Tell
Like,
Jimmy
holy
it's a
shit.
good thing you love him because he was definitely trying to give you heart failure.
Right? Danger prone.
Right?
Well, let's see.
Right.
He was in an accident. He was not the one driving. He was in an accident where his car was hit at the back end of it so hard it knocked the axle completely out from under the vehicle.
Opa.
Wow.
They estimated the car that hit them was doing about 80 miles an hour.
Glad your life is so boring. Yeah. Well, there's a lot to be said for a boring life.
His
Oh
his
man.
the girl was driving, his girlfriend, who's now becoming his ex-wife. Um, she was like just a short, like a centimeter away from an internal decapitation with her neck fracture.
Oh,
I
jeez.
mean, and she didn't realize she was injured and actually got out of the vehicle and was sitting on the ground beside the vehicle
Oh my God.
that she didn't,
Wow.
and my granddaughter was in their backseat, and she had this really bad habit of taking her shoulder belt off.
Oh, no.
And she took her shoulder belt off and ended up with a liver laceration because children that are really small will fold over a seatbelt
Right.
if it's across their waist.
Mm.
Um,
Oh,
and my son, they charged him $131,000 for his ER visit. As far as I know, they did
Wow.
X-rays. Um, when he got home, we pulled all of the glass out of him and
oh,
found a deep 1-inch long hole
Oh
that
my.
they never even cleaned, let alone maybe stitched back together.
Wow.
And they charged him 131 grand. It was like,
Wow.
crazy.
you guys didn't even take any of the glass out of him. You know, you didn't even check for lacerations.
Right?
Jeez. That was a lovely that was probably the most traumatic thing that ever happened to him, though. There was a lot of fallout from that, so 'cause
Mm.
it was his car, she had no insurance, and she was driving.
Ugh,
So it caused him a lot of heartache.
I
So,
think that's
all of his horrible things that have happened, that one was probably the worst so far.
Right?
wow.
So,
Mm-mm-mm.
yeah. He's I'm gonna have to tell him, "I love you, but, thinking about your life, maybe you've been cursed after all. We should do a smudging or something, I don't know."
I think you should get some sage and, like, smudge him or something.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you've been cursed, we don't know when it happened, but we're gonna
Just
smudge
put
the
him in a
heck out of you,
circle
child.
surrounded by salt or something.
Right,
Just
right, do
don't move.
something, I mean, jeez.
Stay here.
Yeah, don't move. Wow.
Jeez Louise.
Good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's your turn to read again.
Yes. Alright, now I gotta tell y'all, it's not as scary as the last thing I read, story.
Right. After how upset people were.
Yeah, this one's not that scary.
Yeah.
Although it sounds like it might be at the very start, it's really not. It's called The Uninvited Guest. Finally, the house settled. The deep quiet of night felt like a weight, and Donnie had finally surrendered to sleep. Mommy's turn. I showered in a blur of steam and haste, the irrational fear of him waking up alone, nipping at my heels. He was only 18 months old. To him, my absence was a cliff edge. This was my last night of solitude before his father returned for the weekend. My plan was simple: a Stephen King marathon until my eyelids turned to lead. I figured I'd last an hour. I lasted 30 minutes. Nighty night, Stephen. The darkness swallowed me whole. Then I was awake. Not a slow drift toward consciousness, but a violent snapping of the tether. My brain scrambled to sharpen itself against the whetstone of the dark. I strained to hear anything. Donnie's rhythmic breathings drifted from the crib in the next room, soft, innocent. The distant hum of the expressway 2 blocks away. And then the sound that turned my blood to ice water, a whispery growl vibrating deep in the dog's throat. In the pale, nearly non existent light of the street lamps, I saw him at the foot of the bed. His hackles were a jagged ridge along his spine. His head was low, his ears pinned back, his lips pulled tight to reveal the wet glint of teeth. My heart didn't just beat, it ratcheted, a mechanical thrum of panic. For one terrifying heartbeat, I wondered if he'd lost his mind, if he was about to turn on me or the baby. Then came the sound. Creak. A floorboard on the stairs. I held my breath until my lungs burned. The dog's growl remained barely audible, a low-frequency warning meant only for me. Creak. Someone was in the house. The silence between the steps was worse than the noise itself. It meant they were listening. My mind raced up the staircase. Was he at the start? The curve? The halfway point? Bile rose in my throat, bitter and hot. Then I remembered the rifle under the bed. A bolt-action 30-30. A physical manifestation of my husband's foresight. A heavy piece of just in case I'd hoped to never to need. I slid to the floor on my belly, fingers frantic until they brushed the cold leather of the case. I unzipped it with the agonizing caution of a bomb technician. When I felt the warmth of the wood stock, I pulled. The rifle was nearly as long as I was tall, a clumsy iron-heavy limb. I crawled and scrambled back up onto the mattress, aiming the barrel at the door. I hissed at the dog to move, desperate to get him out of the line of fire. Then the struggle began. I reached for the bolt. I pulled. It didn't budge. I braced my legs against the stock, wrestling the metal beast as it remained stubbornly unimpressed by my panic. We tumbled on the bed, me and this cold piece of machinery, as the stairs groaned again. Creak! Another step closer. In a final, desperate surge of adrenaline, I threw my weight into the bolt. It slammed up, another bout, wrestling to wrench it backward. Catching the tender web of my thumb and forefinger in its steel jaws, I hissed, tears of pure agony blurring my vision. I wiped them away fiercely, braced the rifle on my knee, shoved the bolt forward, seating a bullet in the chamber, and then slammed it down with force. Locked and loaded. Stop! Don't shoot! It's me! My husband's voice tore through the door, cracking with a terror that mirrored my own. The air left me in a rush. I dropped the gun, the heavy duty of it finally falling away. I yelled, partly in relief, but mostly in fury. He burst through the door, white-faced, reaching to remove the rifle safely out of my reach before pulling me into a shaking hug. The dog, ever the traitor, transformed instantly into a wiggly tail-thumping mess of excitement. In the next room, the toddler slept through it all, undisturbed by the war that had almost been waged at the top of the stairs. Suffice it to say, my husband has never tried to surprise me at 2 a.m. ever again. Not so bad, right?
Yes, not so bad. You're very good at building tension no matter what, though.
That's how I experience all this garbage. I
Right?
spent a lot of time watching Alfred Hitchcock and reading Edgar Allan Poe and
Mhm.
Shakespeare's
All the good
stuff
Mm,
and
stuff.
Stephen King and
Yep.
right?
Dean Koontz. So
Mhm.
yeah, I've got the build. I've been reading it for years.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
one was fun to remember and write, though. I had to wake my husband up and say, "What was that gun we had?" The one I slammed in my hand when I was going to shoot you. He said, "Oh,
That thing
that's the 30-30." He said, It's still in the closet."
Right?
But okay.
I I think that's what my dad, got gave my, oldest son as his inheritance, because he gave every one of the grandsons a gun, and he gave me
Hmm.
back my 243 that I hunted with when I was a kid.
See,
Because
my husband's got all these guns that have numbers like that.
mhm, most guns have numbers like that.
Hey, I got a shot. It doesn't have any numbers. It's just got big fat things that go into the chamber when you flip it down. Then you flip it back up and pull the trigger and it goes. Real
Right?
simple, real easy, no
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah. Easy to use.
Yeah, piece of
Shotgun?
cake.
You're
Kinda
There's
like
boomstick.
something
point and
why he
click.
doesn't surprise me in the middle of the night anymore.
So it's your boomstick, right?
I guess.
You don't know Evil Dead? Army of Darkness, I think it was, right? This is my boomstick. Shop smart. Shop smart. You never.
Oh, vaguely.
Ah, yeah. My son actually named one of his cats Ash. So there might be a little bit of fandom. Now, none of the cats have ever been named after Godzilla yet, though. So
Huh,
I'm not quite sure what's up with that. Because, I mean, you've got Godzilla and Rodan and Mothra. You've got all these other names you could still use for,
right?
your pets, but no,
Even Zilla. That's kind of
Zilla would
cute.
be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zilla would be cool. A cool name for a cat.
There's Lisa with her giant ball of yarn.
I'm going to do tricks.
All right.
I think
Robes,
I
juggles.
forgot.
Lisa does yarn tricks. Woohoo.
I think I forgot to, or didn't I? Oh, I did. I remember them. What I do. This is the start of a chicken, and
This
so
is the story of the chicken.
what I do is I make the little wings after I crochet them, and I do a few ahead, and I stuff them all and start, you know. So no barbarians. Waiting for the barbarians. Huh? I haven't heard of that.
Hmm.
No, I was looking around after sending my daughter-in-law all of my stuff for putting together a chicken website at some point. Um I realized that I was missing a chicken in all of the stuff I sent her. And I'm like, "Ooh, I
Huh,
don't have any of this one made." And
right?
I'm
That's
like,
not good.
"Oh, no, I have absolutely none of these." And I was trying to do at least 2 of every one, because I figured that way, hopefully I won't get someone ordering this like 4 of the same, but, I have a few ahead as people order things and be able to replenish from behind instead of having to make them as they're ordered.
Huh.
And
Well, give Poe a hug for me before you go to bed.
who?
Poe, my little raven.
Oh, okay. Yes, Poe. Poe is right.
Poe.
Look at her. Isn't she darling?
I freaking love Poe.
I do too.
Like I said,
Good
someone
Scott.
else loved Poe,
Freaking
and
love Poe.
unfortunately, they're like, my son's partner. So
Hmm.
Poe 2, I don't know what she'll name hers because she thinks it's a starling and not a raven.
Oh, okay.
She apparently did starling, some sort of starling study at some point in one of her college courses. She likes starlings that much.
I like starlings. Not as much as I like ravens and crows, though. Or buzzards. Buzzards are my favorite.
Well, you said
Hey,
buzzards
you could do a
are
buzzard sometime.
buzzards are. I could try to figure one out, I guess. Um, Buzzards, you said, are telepathic, right?
Yes, they are.
I often wonder if a lot of animals are more telepathic than anything else, and that's why we don't hear them talk,
I
because
think so,
they're sitting there talking to each other, and they know that none of us are bright enough to hear what they're saying.
right?
You know.
Although crows, I don't know, because they'll come and like tapping on my skylight.
Mm-hmm.
They'll like make all kinds of racket over the skylight, and I'll be like, "All right, good morning. I hear you. You need something?" No, they just wanted to wake me up and let me know that they were there.
I,
That's
I
what they
the
wanted.
the wild birds, the chicken scratch I get is actually mixed with black sunflower. And this time, they actually also had, like, probably, some dried chickpeas and things in it, and, I swear to God, when I open up their grain bin, it smells like bubble gum. It is, like, the sweetest smelling stuff, and, the wild birds eat part of it, and so the wild birds are always waiting for me to come out and feed everybody. They'll all be in a line on the fence, just sitting there waiting. Breakfast.
Right?
But, yeah, Joe, I believe it. I mean, you know, everyone thinks chickens are craven and stupid, and I walked up one day when I first had chickens, there's this red hen, and she's standing at the edge of our timber, and she's going, "Cluck, cluck, 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 cluck," and totally frozen. And I get behind her and kinda try to aim where I see her looking, and there is a coyote,
Oh my.
Oh,
and she's
Mm.
trying her best to tell everyone else to get the heck away, trying not to get him to charge and eat her, but knowing that the chances are she's dinner. And
uh,
she's sitting there trying to tell all the other chickens, "Get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. I'm
right?
lunch. I'm lunch." And I scared away the coyote, and, she, of course, went and hid. And I was like, that just, that they're not they I mean, they're prey animals, and they know everything wants to eat them. Knowing everyone wants to eat you doesn't make you stupid.
Right?
It makes you maybe a little suspicious, and that sounds like a good idea. You know? "You wanna eat me,
Uh,
I can tell?"
right?
So, but yeah, I really believe that all animals are a lot smarter, though that makes me wonder what the heck herself says to everybody all the time. 'Cause, I mean, it's really obvious she doesn't like anybody. Um, Instead, there's this constant battle for my bed, and when she can do it, the whole bedroom. She'll just, so obviously, I don't know what they say to each other. I will tell you that when before it got this bad, Monty would come up behind her and smack her on the butt and then run away. He hasn't done that in a long time because she got too scary. I think when she attacked Ursula, everybody just decided she was too frightening to bother with. So, but boy, we're gonna get done early and still have another half hour we have to make stuff up for.
Well,
Um,
I have the female long version of that one story.
oh, do you want to do that before I do the last, or do you want to do um?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay,
This is a long version, so
okay. Well, on camera obscura, where should I start for?
don't ask me because you know I'm gonna want you to start at the beginning.
We do it at the beginning, and I will take up the next 40 minutes probably. I mean, how long does it take to read 4,800 words?
A little bit less time than it'll take for me to read the 4,400 I've got.
It's 12 pages, single spaced,
Mine's only 8. Between us, we can take it all the way to 11:30.
easily. And
Does
that's, of course,
anybody else want to talk?
Probs is like, "Why am I even here?"
Mm.
Robes, are you feeling left out of
What?
things?
No, no, never.
So, what about for since I mean,
I don't need to. I have no need to read this out loud. I really don't.
well, so how about a synopsis, or is that would that skip too much? Since you yeah. I
I
mean,
don't know, Robes. What do you think? What? How much do you want to hear of that?
I don't mind. Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I like the story, so you know.
Mm.
Okay, anybody else out there? Give us a high five, a heart. Give us something if you want to hear the whole thing. Start typing in, people. Quick, quick, quick.
um,
Come on, guys. Anybody? Joe?
I'm actually responding to her comment, Lisa, have you noticed horses are the best comedians? I've seen a horse try to tiptoe behind somebody and hold their stuff. He also steals tackle boxes, hats.
Right?
Mhm.
Oh,
That requires thinking ahead, expecting a reaction, setting everything up, and then waiting for the punchline. That is definitely higher level reasoning.
right?
That is not
Right,
a quote
right.
unquote dumb animal.
Barbara, Bob,
I don't know.
Lexi, anybody? Give us a heart if you want to hear this whole story.
Well, we've got okay.
It's funny.
Advocate says the whole thing. Carol says
Okay.
yes, long version. There we go. We get to
This
read the whole thing.
this is
Thank you,
called,
guys.
for those who don't know, the title of this is Camera Obscura. And if you don't know what a camera obscura is, you can always look one up, I guess. Hi, Michelle. It's the precursor to the camera. It was used for drawing actually a long time ago. So, Janice and Sandy both enjoyed driving vacations that wandered two-lane roads, stopping at small towns with 50s style motels with interiors that hadn't been improved much since the late 70s. It was day 2, and Janice had been driving when she decided to turn left because the road to the right didn't have any lines in the middle. Sandy had kept her mouth shut, even though she was more than a little certain things might not end well with a detour. The agreement at the beginning of the trip, like always, was that detours just made the trip more interesting. Honestly, it was always said, but never followed until now. Usually, they would look over a state map for an area within a 4-hour driving distance, then pick a bigger town, check it out on the internet, and head there. If they enjoyed it, they might stay a few days. If it wasn't terribly interesting, they would get out the map again, find another town, and head there. The detour thing? Sandy had never thought it would happen. Maybe she wouldn't have agreed so cavalierly if she knew Janice believed it. The second rule made her anxiety even worse. No GPS. They had discussed trips in childhood which used real maps and how much fun it was to drive from place to place on the vacations. They decided it would ruin the fun if they just looked up a town and told Siri to get them there. Sandy reached for her phone in the center console, then decided against it. She couldn't read when the car was moving without getting motion sickness anyhow. A sneak peek at the navigation app wasn't worth the nausea, even if she did manage to avoid having Janice see it. Beside her, she heard Janice snort. She took a deep breath and pondered saying something, or if silence would cause the lesser offense. Janice shook her head. Sometimes, when you know each other too well, words had no reason to be said anyhow. It had been about 20 miles since they had turned left, and Sandy had noticed a few miles ago that the white lines along the sides of the road had disappeared. Many of the late-season grasses were golden, and the pastures were full of Queen Anne's lace, ironweed, and sunflowers. The fields seemed to be coming closer to the road the longer they went, as if the wild earth was reclaiming itself from the blacktop. A frisson of anxiety scampered down her back with the icy footfalls of a quick spider. This was beginning to feel a lot like the beginning of a horror story or episode of Twilight Zone. The car began to slow. Startled, Sandy looked forward. She had come to a stop sign at an intersection. The roads crossing from side to side seemed similar to the one they were on, but across from them, the road in front of them widened and the white lines on the outsides of both lanes were back. They looked at each other. Janice knew Sandy was beginning to panic from not knowing where they were. None of the roads had signs identifying them. Just keep going, Sandy said as evenly as she could, trying to not sound angry, not sound like the day was ruined by one wrong turn. It was ruined because some people are too stubborn to admit a mistake, Sandy's mind corrected, and she shook her head against it. I'm sorry, Janice's voice responded, quiet and not defensive. I hoped this would have jogged over to that other good road. I didn't think it would be that far. Sandy shook her head again, this time in hopes that it worked as well as saying, don't worry about it, afraid that any tightness in her voice might be viewed as false grace. She reached for Janice's hand and gave it a squeeze, then returned her hand to her lap. She felt herself exhale when Janice nodded. She hadn't realized she was holding her breath. Just like that, a sign appeared on their right as they crested a hill. Orangeburg, 1 mile. Both of their bodies sagged slightly as relief allowed them to have hope again. Wow, we finally know where we are, Janice grinned triumphantly. Yes, sighed Sandy, finally. She decided a mile was close enough to town to not grab for the atlas immediately. If the town had any size at all, they might even stop for a moment. For a second, she grabbed Janice's hand again. They looked at each other and smiled. The town showed up suddenly, and I accidentally had to jump too far. Hayfields to concrete curbs, manicured lawns, and mature hardwood trees. Oh, God, is this Mayberry? Janice asked, looking around with appreciative awe. I can't remember, but I am pretty sure this is the wrong state, Sandy said with a sarcastic eye roll. The tension too recently between them. Janice quit talking. Sandy tried to figure out if she should apologize or pretend that something meant as a joke was to be silly, not cruel. She knows I'm a smartass, Sandy thought defensively. We're both just a little worn out from the stress of being lost. 3 blocks in, there was a convenience store on the right. It had gas pumps, and beneath the gas sign was another advertising chicken and pizza. Janice pulled up to the pump. When they got out and Sandy could catch her eyes, she said, "Too modern for Mayberry," with a wink. A non-apology. "I'm sorry," a defensive peace offering in hopes of saving the day. Janice smiled halfway and nodded. They walked into the store. While Janice pre-purchased gasoline, Sandy looked for snacks. Maybe chocolate Hostess cupcakes would be a better olive branch. Goodness knows it sure would taste good. Janice was filling the car by the time Sandy had decided on snacks. She smiled at the cashier, a graying man wearing a smock over a white t-shirt. "How big is Orangeburg?" she asked. "Oh, we might be 3 or 4 miles square, I guess," he shrugged. "Big enough for the county courthouse, though." She grabbed the snacks and walked out the door. Janice was buckling herself in. As she sat into the passenger seat, she held out the package of cupcakes and an iced coffee. "Peace?" she offered. Janice gave her a grateful smile. "Thanks. Aren't you worried about spoiling our dinner?" Sandy hadn't even considered a real meal yet. They hadn't been driving that long, had they? "We'll be fine. If not, we'll just skip dinner and have dessert later." Both laughed at the idea of a double dessert day. And Sandy handed Janice one of the cupcakes before eating the other herself. 2 blocks later, they came to a town square, which wrapped a block on each side around the county courthouse. "You sure this isn't Mayberry?" Janice teased. Sandy shrugged back and jumped too far. "Let's park and walk around. If it's like most of the towns set up like this is probably where most of the businesses are." Janice pulled into a parking lot near the courthouse. It was a quintessential small-town America, down to the cannons and the monuments to fallen soldiers of every American war. She joined Sandy on the sidewalk as she looked around more carefully. Sandy realized all of the stores and businesses on that side of the courthouse were closed. And a few, faded real estate signs offering retail and business spaces were still taped to darkened windows. He felt disappointment, mingled with a tinge of dread. He pointed to their right. I think the next block of buildings is shorter this way. She was startled, then comforted when Janice's hand brushed against hers. The world didn't feel as safe for some reason. Sandy looked up from the sidewalk to the buildings across the street at the corner. The corner building was some kind of restaurant. In its window was an LED sign that read, "Closed." When they got closer, the text said the restaurant was closed Mondays, open all other days, 10:30 to 8:30. "It can't be that early, can it?" asked Sandy. Janice shook her head. "But it's Wednesday," Sandy argued. Janice nodded and turned from the store entrance and began walking down the sidewalk. "I think I was right," Janice said lightly. "Those cupcakes did spoil our appetites." Sandy agreed with a wry smile and a half laugh. The next store was vacant. The store beyond was battered gray, and the light beyond the glass dim and shadowed. Curiosity overruled foreboding and anxiety, and she stepped for the door. When she grabbed the aluminum handle, it was cool, but with a machine sensation to the touch, like a tool left alone for too long. She pulled it open. The sound of a small brass bell tinkled above her. A willowy man who had to be in his mid-30s, or maybe mid-50s with not enough gray yet, looked up. In a blink, she didn't remember who she was looking at, and he was in his mid-30s for sure. "May I help you?" His smile was quick and open, but again something changed. She blinked. She blinked back. Behind her, Janice's shoes made dusty, scuffling sounds as she walked in the door that Sandy still held with her hand. "Just looking," Janice responded with a cheerful wave. The man turned away, and Sandy turned to look at her. Janice seemed unconcerned and interested in the store surrounding them. It was dusty, with some displays lined with deep burgundy velvet. There were curiosities like shrunken heads, monkey's paws, and wolfsbane. As Sandy's gaze followed Janice's, she remembered the show Oddities on the Discovery Channel. She never expected something like that to be able to make a living in a little place like this. "Oh, look," exclaimed Janice, walking towards a point-and-shoot 35mm camera. Sandy followed her, curious what might interest her. Janice got a confused look when she got closer. "Camera obscura? This isn't a..." The strange man appeared beside them. "This is not exactly what you think." "I'm pretty sure it's not a camera obscura." The man smiled. The age was back. Sandy found herself staring at his face, waiting to see what it was that changed, that made his age seem so strangely variable. For a second, something shadowed there, she thought, but then it was gone. "This is a very special camera. Some might describe it as cursed, others as magical." "Really?" Janice's face reflected only awe, no apprehension or worry. Sandy began to feel slightly nauseous as the conversation continued. "This camera only takes forever pictures, and once the roll of film is done, it won't take them anymore," he explained, as if this were a normal feature on any point-and-shoot camera. "What do you mean?" asked Sandy, wondering why they wouldn't buy another roll of film. His face shifted again, maybe a trick of the light, but he seemed a bit grayer, almost as though he were fading. "The camera will take 24 pictures. That is all." Janice glanced at Sandy, and Sandy saw mischief in Janice's eyes. Her sense of foreboding grew, becoming an ache spreading from her heart and into her shoulders and down to her pelvis. There was no such thing as a bad cupcake, she was pretty sure, but the nausea and anxiety just grew. "Sounds interesting," Janice said. "We'll take it." Janice walked behind the face-shifting man, nearly triumphant with her chosen prize. With all the tension between them on the drive here, Sandy wasn't interested in arguing over it. A couple $100 to put some joy back into their vacation was probably worth it. Just an overpriced souvenir. Sandy followed the two to an old antique cash register. She was honestly a little shocked when the man accepted credit and debit cards. He packaged it carefully in tissue paper in a box. As he handed the parcel to Janice, he warned, "Remember, these are forever pictures. Only take pictures of something you want to keep forever. 24 pictures is not a lot." The brass bell over the door rang as Sandy opened the door for Janice. Janice nearly floated out of the store. Sandy followed behind her, the door closing as she walked away. When she heard the click, she turned around. The faded gray store darkened behind her, dimming like an old memory. A chill as cold as February climbed down her back in the late summer humidity. "Wow, that was weird," Sandy said, grabbing her arms and rubbing them as she attempted to shake the chill that had wrapped around her. "Yeah, who thought there would be a neat shop like that here in Mayberry?" Janice's enthusiasm hadn't waned. Maybe she just didn't look at the clerk as carefully because she was excited by the camera. Sandy caught up to her as she walked breezily toward the other businesses they hadn't seen yet, the camera safely in its box in a plastic bag, with handles swinging gently at her side as she went. Sandy turned and looked at the store one last time. It looked as dark as the restaurant from this distance, almost like it had never been open, but she was sure they had been in there. They ended up walking the entire square. Insurance shops, a title company, real estate companies, a dentist office. One other restaurant, but Janice wasn't interested in the food there, and Sandy couldn't be hungry no matter how hard she tried. Finally, they had walked the entire square and made it back to the car. "Well, do we try that other restaurant again or maybe get going?" Janice offered. Sandy sighed, feeling more than anything just tired. It was probably too late to go back to the motel they had left. She wondered if there might be a motel heading out of this town into the next one. "Let's just head towards the next town and hope we find a motel somewhere along the way and somewhere to eat. If we don't find something to eat, maybe we can find a pizza at a gas station or something." Janice nodded and climbed into the driver's seat. And it skipped on me. Sandy reached behind the seat for the atlas and opened it. "Orangeburg, right?" she asked. Janice nodded. She went to where they had been that morning on the map and began looking in circles, starting first with the direction they headed when they left the town they had stayed in the night before. After a few moments, she went back to the town they had left and tried again. "I can't find it," she said, trying hard to keep from letting herself be anxious. "Are you sure maybe you missed it?" Frustrated, Sandy tried again. "No, it's not here." "Let me look." Janice said there was no judgment, nothing but helpfulness. Sandy handed the atlas to Janice, her eyes falling on the bag with the camera in it, as Janice took the atlas from her. She looked away and out the windshield to the stone courthouse. Everything in the town square seemed kind of empty and lonely, but that could be a problem in a lot of small towns these days. Big box stores competed with mom and pop shops. Mom and pop shops couldn't afford the discounts. Businesses closed. Didn't mean that there was necessarily anything creepy going on. Except maybe that store, her mind whispered to her. No, she assured herself. It was just an odd little store. She remembered stories of people driving to Wall's gun store in a little town in Missouri long after the rest of the town had packed up and moved away. It could happen. Chances are the camera was just a cheap camera, sold for too much money for a good story. They would put it on a shelf and laugh about it years from now. "Could you guys entertain everybody for a second and I'll go kick her out?" "I'll be right back."
Sure. Da, 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 da. That,
Right? I dance, but nobody can see me. So
oh, we can imagine. We all have
Do
good
it for me
imaginations,
then.
right, folks?
I don't know. I don't even know how to dance, really.
Oh,
I'm
sweetie, I
not a
can teach
dancer.
you.
I'm not a dancer. I play guitar. I don't need to dance.
Oh, but how do you know you might love dancing?
I don't know.
There's
Seems
something that
tedious.
happens to your body. It's like a massage. It's just, oof, it feels good. We entertained.
Thank you, thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Except maybe that store, her mind whispered to her. No, she assured herself. It was just an odd little store. She remembered stories of people driving to Wall's gun store in a little town in Missouri long after the rest of the town had been packed up and put away and moved away. It could happen. Chances are the camera was just a cheap camera sold for too much money for a good story. They would put it on a shelf and laugh about it years from now. Weird, said Janice slowly. I can't find Orangeburg on the map either. Well, Gimasabi, where to now? Janice said with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Sandy smiled back, hoping maybe her eyes were at least reassuring. Well, we could drive back to the gas station, maybe ask for directions to the next town. Janice nodded, handing back the atlas and putting on her seatbelt. Neither spoke as she navigated the town square and headed the direction of the gas station. The trip only took a few minutes. The gas station pumps were off and the store was not open. Inside, a few emergency lights remained on. A sign on the door said, "Be back in a bit." Janice pointed to an area near the store where the flowers were blooming. A few monarch butterflies were flying between them. At least it's a good time to try out the camera, figure out if it works. Sandy shrugged. Maybe if she was lucky, the man would come by the next time they took a picture. And, and if not, it gave them a few minutes to decide where to go next. She stood leaning against the car as Janice reached in, got the box out of the bag, and pulled the camera from the tissue paper. Oh, shit. I didn't even check to see if it needs batteries, Janice murmured as she searched for the on switch. There was a click. Oh, great, she said with a smile. She grinned at Sandy. Looks like it has batteries. Sandy followed her as she walked toward the flowers. The 8 or 9 butterflies fluttered between flowers, landing briefly before taking off. Sandy watched as Janice focused on one particular flower with a butterfly on it. There was a click of the shutter. Sandy gasped. Janice looked at her. What? The butterfly. It's gone. Oh, it probably just moved. Sandy cocked her head skeptically. The flower is gone, too. There's no way, Janice said incredulously. Take another picture, suggested Sandy. Of what? Said Janice. Sandy looked around frantically for something that would be easy to verify. Finally, she pointed to the note taped to the store window. How about this? Janice nodded, then focused and pressed the shutter release. The note was gone. She looked at Sandy, small horror growing in her eyes. Sandy reached for her shoulder. It's okay. You probably had hit at least 1 or 2 butterflies driving over the years, too. Accidents happen. Janice nodded, blinking hard. They both built pollinator plots together at home. They would sit on their own porch summer evenings and watch the bees, butterflies, moths, and hummingbirds. Sandy knew Janice had a very tender heart. Well, we keep going the way we were or go back the way we came. Which do you vote for? Sandy asked Janice. Janice was indecisive for the first time that day. Maybe it was the shock of the butterfly. For whatever reason, she was pretty sure that Janice hadn't been concerned about the store they had shopped in or the clerk there before the butterfly picture. She waited a few breaths to give Janice a few minutes to consider before volunteering her own idea. We drove for a couple of hours to get here, and there wasn't much once we turned onto the detour. Janice nodded, her face pale and worried. So let's try heading out of town, the direction we were traveling for now. Hopefully we will find another town and be able to get our bearings. Sandy searched Janice's face, looking at the tension, the tight lips. She was worried now, too. He stroked her face a moment, then gave her a hug. "It's okay," she murmured against her neck. "We'll get through this." Janice nodded, then turned away and walked to the car, the camera still clutched in her hand. She placed it loose in the center console, tossing the box, wrapping, and bag into the trash can near the pumps. Sandy climbed in as Janice buckled herself in. "Onward and upward, eh?" said Janice with a shaky smile. Sandy smiled back to her. "To adventure," she replied, hoping there was at least a little hope in her expression. Janice was feeling rocky enough already. They retraced their drive back to the town square, continuing through to keep driving the way they started. A few blocks later, a small shopping strip with a little grocery store, farm store, and restaurant came into view, and the houses were beginning to space out some. "Maybe we should eat here," suggested Sandy. "I'd rather maybe just grab some stuff at the grocery store and keep going," said Janice uneasily, really getting tired of driving. "Want me to take over?" Sandy offered. "Maybe after we shop?" Sandy nodded. They found parking and entered the small grocery store. It was well stocked and brightly lit. They grabbed bagged salad, cooked chicken, and favorite sodas. As they were checking out, Sandy said thoughtfully, "We could always have a picnic somewhere as an option." Janice nodded quietly as they paid for their purchases. Sandy couldn't think of another comfort to offer at the moment. 2 blocks later, at the edge of town, was a small, low-slung brick motel. The neon sign said Sundown's Rest, and the vacancy part of the line was alive and buzzing. Sandy pulled in. "Ready to stop for the day?" Janice did not look her in the eyes and instead nodded as she looked out the passenger window. Sandy shrugged and went into the little motel to get a room. No one was behind the desk. She waited a few minutes because she hated ringing bells for people. It felt disrespectful somehow. Finally, worried about Janice being alone in the car, she tapped the bell. Once. A slightly disheveled man, who may have been around 40, walked through a doorway, blinking repeatedly as though he had just waken up. "You want a room?" he asked. "Yes, please," Sandy responded. He handed her a registration card. He looked at it, frowning as she handed it back. "That your car out there?" "Yes," Sandy replied, slightly confused. The registration had asked for model, car color, and license plate. "Okay," he said, nodding. He reached under the desk and brought out a key. "I'm going to put you in 8. It's at the end there on this side." Thanks," Sandy said. "Enjoy your stay," he said with a smile. "I will bring by some extra towels later." Sandy nodded and left the lobby, looking over her shoulder as she opened the door. He stood there, frozen in the last position he had been in when she turned, as if by removing her attention, left him frozen in time. He waved when her eyes met his, then brought his hand down to the counter. A chill, not unlike the one that traced icy fingers down her back at the oddity store, scampered from her neck to the small of her back, and she found herself shuddering in the late summer sunlight as the door closed behind her. She rubbed her arms in a vain attempt to remove the goose slush raised on them, sighing as she climbed back into the car. She handed Janice the key. "We're in 8, on the corner." "Cool," replied Janice with a smile that didn't erase the nervousness from her face, nor did it light her eyes. Sandy didn't blame her one bit and appreciated her attempt to be brave. Neither of them were really feeling up to it by this point. The room was typical mid-century motel, complete with a touch-tone phone on a small table between 2 double beds. No upgrades in at least a decade here. It had quilted bedspreads in dark blue and a grayish-brown tweed kind of wallpaper on the walls. Cheap paneling accents, a bath across from a hanging area off the bedroom. There was a television bolted to a stand with a channels list beside it. Sandy dropped the bags she had brought in just inside the door and slumped onto the closest bed. Janice came in behind her, piled her bags beside Sandy, and sat down beside her. In her hands was the camera. Sandy cocked her head and looked at Janice. They didn't need words a lot of times these days, and this was certainly one of them. I didn't feel right leaving it in the car. What if someone steals it? Sandy hadn't thought of that. She imagined what might have happened if the first picture one of them had taken had been of the other. Something in her chest clenched, and she found it hard to breathe for a moment. Yeah, she finally choked out after a moment. That is a good idea. She went to the bags and picked up the one they had brought from the grocery store. Guess we should eat? They quietly shared salad and roast chicken. Sandy realized she was genuinely exhausted. She still didn't know where they were or where they might end up tomorrow. The unsettling day, with all of its inexplicable events, had left her completely drained. Hoping for some sense of normalcy, she turned on the television, hoping that the noise would be a distraction. She flipped through channels. Everything that was playing seemed to be at least a decade old. She left an old police procedural running. Janice gathered their disposable plates and put them in the trash. She sat at the edge of the bed, pondering laying down. A knock sounded at the door. It's the desk clerk. I'm here with the towels. Oh, yeah, Sandy said, looking at Janice. He said he would stop by with extra towels. Janice nodded and went to the door and opened it. The manager stood there with a stack of towels between his hands. He smiled at them. Can I bring these in? Janice stood back to allow him in. He kicked the door shut behind him. In a flash, he dropped the towels and grabbed Janice. She began to struggle. Sandy's heart hammered at her chest. There's two of us, she thought frantically. There's no way. She reached for the camera as Janice bit the motel manager. He cursed and shoved her. Janice fell to the floor. Sandy found his image in the viewfinder, closed her eyes, and depressed the shutter. She looked to the floor. Janice was safe. Her eyes began to tear as she panted. She dropped the camera with shaking hands and closed the distance, kneeling beside Janice. Are you okay? Janice nodded, her eyes wide, panting. Yeah, he... Janice began to sob, and Sandy held her, eyes closed, quiet tears rolling down her own cheeks. She lost track of time as they sat there together, slowly calming down, reassuring themselves of safety, that no one was hurt, only terrified. After an eternity of moments, they separated and sat, cross-legged on the floor. The sun was setting, and the television had somehow quit playing during the struggle. The room was growing dark. What do we do now? Janice asked with a quiet, small voice. Are you up to trying to get away from here? Sandy asked. Janice nodded. They grabbed their bags and opened the motel door. Outside in the sunset, the motel seemed more faded, and Sandy realized that the neon vacancy was no longer lit. The lights weren't even on in the motel office. Grass grew tall through cracks in the parking lot, and the parking spaces no longer had lines. The chill that had spent so much time tracing its path on her back that day visited again. Sudden nausea attacked her, and she threw up on the sidewalk. Janice looked at her, alarmed. Are you okay? Wiping her mouth with the back of her hand, Sandy nodded, not quite trusting her voice yet. With the bags packed in the car, Janice opened the driver's side door, nodding to Sandy to take the passenger seat. Sandy, relieved, nodded, even as she wiped cold sweat from her upper lid and brow. Wait, Sandy yelled, bolting from the car and running back into the motel room. She went to the bed and grabbed the camera where it had fallen from her hand. She didn't know if their wrong-turn misadventure was over, and a camera obscura might still come in handy.
Mm, wow. I'm liking it.
Thank you. And I got us to 10 minutes before we're done, so Well, so great. It took about a half hour almost. So yeah, yours would take us over time.
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay.
No, I told you at the start, I didn't need to read it.
Right.
It's just when I was writing it, I wrote it from the man's point of view as a man, gumshoe. But then something told me I had to write it from the woman's point of view too, as like a woman, a detective,
Mm-hmm.
because there were things that I could change with that and have play with it a little more. So
Right.
it's basically the same story. It's just slightly different, but from a different point of view.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it's not a big deal. But I could certainly, suck up time with it if we ever have the need.
It's up to you. I don't know. Can we find anything else to talk about for 10 minutes? I'm sure we can.
Oh, well, of course we can.
Who wants to go visit a small S? What's this? Go visit a small. What's a small S? What? I'm.
I get it.
I don't know what visiting a small S is. If
Yeah,
I
me either.
otherwise I because
No.
I would know then.
I'm looking at my keyboard thinking, what could that be?
I know. Yeah, I know it's early. Oh, it's a small scary town. Yeah,
Oh, that would be fun.
actually, there's like a ghost hunting place you can go visit here a couple hours from here, and they actually have like a dormitory beside it, so you don't have to stay in the haunted house overnight. You actually can bunk back in the not haunted new part instead. Or you can spend all the time you want in there overnight. But if you like get tired or whatever, and you can actually rent it for the entire weekend.
I should start selling tickets to this joint.
Well, yeah,
Maybe if
yeah.
somebody pays to sleep in the living room, they can figure out who's stealing stuff out of my kitchen.
Maybe. But I think it was a mansion and then they turned it into like a convalescent home. And it's like this Victorian architecture type, beautiful, beautiful place. And oh yeah, they tore down the golf course at Eminence, and we were so disappointed when they did that. There was a little miniature golf course that was across the street that was owned by the same people that owned the motel we all stayed in, and I guess it was too messed up. And but I used to love playing miniature golf. I'm very bad at real golfing. I once accidentally did a hole in one miniature golfing though. I actually chipped it over the windmill to the other side and it landed in the cup. And everyone was really impressed.
Well, I don't have any depth perception, so anything where you got to put a ball anywhere does not work for me.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would not be good. No, yeah.
No, no. I have hard enough time putting the car between the trees, or between the ditches,
Yeah,
whichever way you
I would think between things wouldn't be the problem. I'd think like what that knowing whether or not you were going to hit the wall would be more of an issue.
Yeah, I don't
Right?
park close to anything.
I mean,
And
it's like,
I make a lot of people mad if they're behind me because I don't pull out in front of oncoming traffic
oh, I don't blame you
when people think I should.
because you aren't sure how far away they are.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, geez.
So I have to know for sure it's really far enough before I try it.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I
Oh
piss off a
man.
lot of people behind me.
So reverse cameras aren't any good for you either because it doesn't matter.
Oh my God.
That's a yes. Okay.
That is
Just
so awful.
I have only driven like SUVs and pickup trucks now for 20 years. And I was so happy to get a reverse camera because you can never see really well behind you below a certain height. And it's a lot higher than a car. And so I always hated, backing up because I was like, I'm doing my best I can with my mirrors, but there's blind spots and I might hit something in a blind spot. And yeah.
Hmm.
Oh man, Joe, that's crazy. So
Right?
I was thinking my story was done, but Sacred doesn't want my story to be over.
No, she's still got like 21 pictures left.
Right? Come on now. Can't
I
leave
mean,
us hanging.
there's places you can go and things you can get rid of.
Right? Seriously.
I
Yeah, I should
think
get
that
her a
ladies need to
time
take a
machine
trip to
too,
like,
huh? Should I get her a
um,
time machine? You know?
oh, all right, Robes, help her design a feasible time machine.
Oh,
We need to move her to the White House before the destruction started.
You know,
so
Trump loves having his picture taken too. That would be
yeah, about that. So according to FEMC, there is
Forget reality, just make it happen feasibly.
yeah. I
Reality
would like to.
aside,
That would
how
be nice.
could that work?
it's too. Oh, we have to have to like schedule a Republican prayer breakfast,
Right?
and then get them all to stand up to have their picture all taken together. And
Oh, that would be good.
oh
Wouldn't
God, the
that
Secret
be
Service are going to
lovely?
come visit me, aren't they? This is
Maybe, but
fiction.
we'll see what happens to me when I post my poem tomorrow.
Oh God.
We'll see if any of them get it.
Oh goodness. Yes, we have teleportation chickens. There we go. They're the
Hey,
special
there you
ones.
go.
I bet you I'd make real money if I was selling teleportation chickens.
I bet you could charge a whole lot more for them,
Hmm. I wouldn't have to worry about, I could like buy my son his own house and say, just don't bother coming over here.
right?
Here's a nice house for you. Bye bye.
And here's their car. Bring my truck back,
Oh heck yeah. The house more than yeah. That's even bigger deal probably than yeah
right?
yeah.
Hey, I
Well,
got my tags on my car so I can be mobile again.
nice.
Yeah, I thought I had them on there earlier, but somehow I missed it. I didn't get them.
Oh geez.
Yeah, my husband was working on it, and he said, "Where are your tags?" And I said, "Well, I gave them to you." And he said, "I you didn't ever give them to me." And I said, "Well, I'm pretty sure I did." He said, "No." So I got looking. Sure enough, I never did order the tags. So then I had to
Oh
pay the
wow.
extra because
Yeah.
they were late.
Yep. Yep. They love to do that. They gotta make money somehow. Why
I
not
know, and I was
make
like,
it
"Oh,
hand over
doggone
feet
it all."
fast? Yep.
So they came, and then they came in the bitter cold, and he said, "I don't want to put them on when it's this cold." And I said, "No, because the last time we did that, they ended up in the snowbank somewhere. We never did find it.
Yep.
I
Because
had to get
they
a replacement."
uh Yep.
So I said, "Just wait, because I'm not going out in this bitter cold anyway. I don't have any heat, so you know."
Yeah.
But now I've got the tags on, and it's supposed to be like 50 tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a permanent drive without heat.
It's 46 right now here.
Is it? I don't know what
Yep.
it is here.
It was in the 50s and raining all day today.
Oh, it was in the 50s and sunny here. It was a beautiful day. I had my front door wide open, and it was just balmy and nice
That was very loud and noisy. I
on
thought it
my
was
end or on
thunder.
your end.
I thought it was thunder, and I thought it was something being dragged outside of my house somewhere.
Well, you go check that while we're here to watch your back.
Well, I don't hear
Ursula's still
anything.
outside, isn't she?
Well, yeah, she was barking and she's quit. So whatever it is isn't bothering her anymore
Okay.
because she. So whatever it was has to be either natural or human, or no, or it could be she's attacking a coyote. But I hear snarling or something. If she's attacking
Uh,
a coyote or something.
remember the other night I wasn't on video or the audio part, but when somebody was saying, "Look behind you,"
Uh
that was just like that one story I did.
huh.
Remember that one, the Halloween one or something? It was like, "Look behind
Right.
you." Something going on back there.
Right.
Man, that was like creepy.
I love creepy stories. Yeah, Ursula's now working way far away. So
Oh, okay.
she's doing okay. I forgot to tell you guys. The other day, Jimmy came and he was here in the morning. So I was like, I'll just go ahead and open the chicken yard and everything. And he comes back inside. He goes, Mom, your chickens are too smart. I'm like, yeah, I know that. He goes, No, Mom, nobody closed the gate to their chicken yard last night. He said, and when I walked back out to feed them, um, they were already out. He said, Can your chickens open their door? I'm like, yeah, usually I said, whenever I've got to lock them up for snow, which isn't around right now. I'm like, whenever I got to lock them up for snow, I will go ahead and take and check the door every day. I said, but usually they've never gotten it in one night before. Usually it's something I got to keep an eye on when I lock them up in snow because that'll be days at a time and they'll sit there and mess with it. But
Right.
they got it in one evening and we're all out and doing their own thing already when he went back outside. He's like, I know they weren't out when I got here and I wasn't inside more than 10 minutes, but somehow in that time.
Wow.
So,
Smart
so
birds.
yeah, yeah. And they're just chickens. Just chickens. Not anything
Well, like I
crazy.
said, buzzards are highly intelligent, and so are crows.
And I'm pretty
Ravens.
sure chickens are too, but,
Yeah.
in fact, I think when I do my Easter selection of emotional support chickens, I'm going to, like, try to, at least on, like, the Facebook local posts, say, "Please do not adopt chicks for your children. Get them an emotional support chicken. They don't make as much mess. You don't have to worry about
Right.
them changing size or feed them," you know?
Oh, you should do some little ones like mine, but like in pastel colors for kids for Easter chicks.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to, like,
Little ones.
do a different yarn or adjust how I make them somehow a lot. I don't know if I can, and I could buy a
Smaller
smaller
yarn,
yarn, but that's
smaller
just more
needles.
expensive. Yeah, I know. See, this is this is supposedly a 5, and this is supposedly a 5, and they aren't much smaller than a 4 or much larger than a 4. And
But those are a good size for children right there.
this is also a 5
Mm.
from a
Wow.
different company. And
Mm.
this is a 6 and it's way out there. But the extra larger chicken,
Uh-huh.
different company, they're size 6.
Okay.
And so I I'm not sure when I order something if it's actually going to stay true to size or not.
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah.
So, if I could find a really nice, I guess, worsted weight chenille, which I never have ever seen, that's true worsted weight, I could, and it was a reasonable price. But the other problem is that the chenille yarns, for whatever reason, are more expensive than normal yarn.
Hmm.
So,
Mm.
yeah, I thought about trying to figure out a chick pattern, but and kind of wait till next year to get that crazy because I've got a lot of chickens already. I've got 15 chickens patterns
Wow.
already in different kinds of yarn. So in LA, a cockroach very large stood on hind legs and looked at me. I was terrified and killed it, but I swear it was intelligent. I'm not being a freaky animal activist. I'm not one, but it will never leave me. Yeah, that would make me kind of sad too. If it,
Right.
yeah, when you realize it's like I've quit picking on my ants. I just kind of figure they'll eat anything that accidentally don't get wiped off my counter. So this sounds kind of helpful. So I just ignore the fact they keep coming into my house every spring.
Right.
And
All right. Well, I got to tap out. It's
yeah, it's sad.
11:35.
It's sad.
Like
It's late,
late.
but just commenting to Joe, and
Well, we'll miss you, Robes.
yes, we will. And we probably should get
Good
going
night,
too.
everyone.
Good night.
Or what you want to? You have to stay up. Is that one of the reasons you're still here, sacred?
Oh, I have to stay up till midnight, so
which is another half hour.
yeah. I mean, you don't have to stay for me. I can occupy myself. I've been doing it a long time.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
I'm just
then
saying I don't have to go to sleep because I gotta stay awake anyway, so I'm not in a big hurry.
okay. Well,
But
then I
if you
will.
wanna go, we can go.
Okay. Then good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night,
night,
Good.
everyone.
everybody. Thanks for
See you
hanging with
tomorrow.
us.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Good night. Happy